Hey guys, I am back. Are you curious? Hey guys, it has been a while, but I'm back and I have some fun things thought out for you guys. I have been thinking about what it is I can offer the YouTube community because there's already so many amazing people making videos, teaching techniques, showing new product, and many, many more things. And I just realized that I am me, nobody else is me, nobody else has my view or my experience on makeup, not only social media makeup, but also professional makeup because I am a working artist. So I decided I'm just gonna jump back into it and I'm going to show you the things that I find interesting, that I like, that I wanna teach, and that I wanna talk about. So that being said, let's just start this off real quick by pulling the hair back because that gets in the way. And I'm going to try to not edit my videos as much because I want them to feel more real and feel more personal, like you guys are getting to know me and I'm not editing out mistakes and long pauses because that's how I talk. I think about things and I kind of just, yeah, I do that a lot. But anyways, here we go guys. I've gotten some pretty cool things in the mail recently from different brands. So I'm going to create a look with whatever I had on my table. I just brought it over to play around. And that's kind of how I build looks too. So I'm gonna start with this Tarte foundation. This is Clay Stick foundation. I have two shades, Fair Light Neutral and Light Medium Neutral. So it comes in a stick form like this, which is great for using directly on your face if you are just doing makeup on yourself, or if you are a working artist. I love cream foundations for traveling because they're just so easy to depot, decanter, and put into a packaging that's travel friendly and not as heavy. And I'm going to take this Makeup Shack T31 brush. I really like this. It's dense, but very soft and synthetic. So it's good for blending out your cream foundations, anything liquid. This texture on this foundation is really nice too. It feels creamy, but it doesn't look heavy on the skin, which is something that I found is common with cream foundations. They get to be very thick looking. And I have large pores in this area on my nose and here on the cheeks. So when I work cream foundations into the skin, sometimes it'll seem like on the surface of the skin there's no foundation, but it all sank and settled into the pores, and so it ends up looking like foundation freckles. When in reality it's just deep filled pores. But this one doesn't seem to do that, so I'm just going to go around the face, blend that out, and I'm going to take the darker of the two, which was the Light Medium Neutral, and kind of work that around the outer perimeter of the face. So the center of the face, anywhere where I have redness as well, I like to use the darker shade because that'll help cover my redness better. I don't have enough color on my face that needs correction with color correction. So foundation should be enough, and also foundation allows the skin to look like skin, whereas if you go in with a color corrector, it can sometimes neutralize the skin too much to where it looks gray, and then you have to build skin tone back in. But our skin is, you know, it's layers of skin. So what you see on the surface is layers and layers that are translucent and have blood vessels and have different things in there. So you have to build up foundation with different tones and shades, textures, a lot of stippling. If you look into special effects, you'll see that when they create a foam mold or a foam prosthetic that's just one tone and they want to create a monster, they layer so many different colors and tones and things that you wouldn't really expect, like reds and blues, even though that's not going to be the final color, just to give the skin on the surface when it's finished and painted depth in color so that it looks and mimics skin and doesn't look like a flat color. And that's what you would have to do if you are completely covering the skin with concealers and color correcting to the point where you've neutralized it to a gray. that's what you would need. So I try to avoid that, and I just use a lighter foundation. I don't know what this red mark is here. Maybe I scratched my face. I don't know. I'll fix that in a bit. So this foundation is looking pretty good. I like the way my skin is still dewy, but it's not too texturized as far as tone and all that. So I'm going to go into concealer. Recently I was sent this concealer from Nabla. It's called the Close Up Stay Full Smooth Concealer. I'm going to take that first on the back of my hand because I want to see the consistency and opacity of it. So it's on the back of my hand, and I want to take a fluffy brush. This is not synthetic, this is natural hair. This is Smith Cosmetics, and I'm just going to buff that into the skin. Since I'm not applying a lot of product, I can use this cream with a natural hair fiber because I'm blending it with just the tips of the bristles, not really dipping it into something liquid. But even if I were to dip it into something liquid, if you're cleaning your brushes properly, it shouldn't be a problem. That actually made a really nice difference. I'm just going to take my finger and pat that in. Even though the brush pretty much did the work for me, I want a natural finish, and there's nothing that can replace fingers in makeup. Dipping that brush back into concealer, working it on the other eye. I am not going to apply concealer all the way to the lash line because it creases more often that way, and then also I'm going to smoke out my eye look, so it's not going to matter once it's set and ready and the rest of the makeup's done. So I'm just going to take whatever's left on that brush, work it around the areas of concern, maybe pick up a little bit more product. That chin tends to get really red, and just pat that all back in. This discoloration I have at the end of the eye, I always give an extra little boost with concealer. And as far as skin, I just have one more blemish here on my forehead that I had to attack yesterday because I'm impatient, not allowing my facial products to work. Well, it's okay. It's okay. All right, so now that skin is done, this is usually how I start makeup on myself and on others as well, depending on the look that I'm doing. If I know I'm gonna go crazy with pigment that might have fallout or glitter or anything like that, then I might just start with the eyes or whatever the accent is first. But usually I start with foundation. Helps me get a clear view of what I want to do with the face. You know what I think this red is? I think this is the eye drops that I just used that fell on my skin and burned me for some reason. Wow. Note to self. Okay, now I'm going to move on to contour, and I'm going to take this KIKO Sculpting Touch Creamy Stick Contour in the shade 201 and just pop that right in the two deepest parts there of the contour. And I also like to just take the product straight from the tube. So first I'm going to blend this out. And I'm using this Zoeva brush. I really like this brush for cream contour. It's the 109 Luxe Face Paint. It blends the product out really nicely without moving it in places I don't want it to be. And it feels really soft on the face as well. It's not scratchy at all. So I like to work the contour in that same angle and kind of bring it down a little bit where I naturally have this sunken in part. So if I relax and I do my selfie face, which kind of looks like that, then I accentuate it just a little bit. And as I blend this out, I don't want to take it too low, so I'm being mindful of that. It's really strong right now, but once I work the other products onto the face, it'll balance out. So just pulling the hair back so I can get back and push that product into the hairline. If I were working on a model that had a blonde hair where the product would show up in the hairline, I would definitely not do this step. And whatever's left on the brush, take it on the sides of the nose and then jawline. Next, I'm going to take this waterproof cream palette from Danessa Myricks. It is the Essentials palette. It's got 6 cream shades in there that can be used for contour, but I'm going to use this corner here for a little bit of blush. I'm going to take that on my finger, place it on that cheek, and I can either work this into my cheek with my fingers, which I will do, or I could also use my brush if I didn't want to. But the warmth from your fingers really works the product into the skin where it feels like and looks like it's part of your skin and not just a product that's placed on top. I also put that a little bit on the lid so that there's some harmony in the tones and shades that I'm using on my face, so it's not just on the cheek looking like it came out of nowhere. And I can also take that if I wanted across the bridge of my nose, just there, to kind of brighten up the face, that glowy from within, or whatever the heck you want to call it, comes from blending these products and layering products on the face. So now that that's blended in, I'm going to take my foundation brush again and blend out the bottom edge of that contour. So I'm not applying product, I'm just cleaning up that blend. And I'm also going to take the Danessa Myricks, because I have all 4 stacks right here, and I want to try them out. The Fire and Ice palette, which is creamy highlight. Different shades that you can see there, so we've got some cool tones, some more warm tones. I'm going to mix this one that has a pink shift to it with this yellow one so that they kind of neutralize each other. And I'm going to take those 2 colors on my fingertips, and then I'm going to layer one over the other with just my fingertips, blending them in and pressing them into the skin. And I like to bring them up through that brow bone and onto the forehead just above the brow. This is something that I like to do on models as well, but I definitely do this before any brow product has been placed on the brows, so that I don't cover that and make it ashy or make it look crusty. Crusty, I don't think has ever been used as a word to describe a desired makeup look. But who knows, maybe Terry Barber can make that work, man. I'm sure he could make a bomb crusty look. I'm sure that man could make it work. Taking just a little bit more of that pinky shade and working it on the Cupid's bow, on the bridge of the nose. I don't prefer to put highlighter on the tip of the nose, just on the bridge, and a little bit on the inner corner of the eye. I don't know what I'm going to do yet with the eye. I might be covering this later, but it's a good base, I believe. There we go. Next, I'm going to be using some of this Patrickstarrr bronzer. It's matte, and it's in the shade Give Me Life. I'm going to take that on my favorite brush for bronzer or anything powder for the cheeks, the Smith 112. Dusting it off and just tapping it on the skin and then blending it out. The reason I tap first is because if I were to load my brush and just place it on the skin to blend, I might get a patchy application because I'll deposit and then drag, and I feel by tapping it onto the skin to place it first, you're assuring that the excess that might be on the brush is not creating a patchy effect. To this point, I haven't used any powders on the face other than this. I've only used creams, so it can blend out really easily. I don't use powder to set my foundation until I'm at the end, and that's only if I'm actually powdering it. Usually on myself, I don't powder because I don't mind looking a little bit greasy. I would prefer to look like my skin is luminous, it's healthy, it's glowing, it's dewy, not with metallic highlighter, but with actual moisture in the skin. If anything, I might blot, or I can apply some powder just like on the forehead, a little bit on the nose, here around the nasal labial folds, and then the chin. That's pretty much it, but I'm not at that point yet. Next is eyes, and I have these shadows here. They are the Dose of Colors new pigments that are, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. You'll see. I depotted these, as you can see. There's a couple other shadows in here that aren't Dose of Colors, but I'm going to be using basically these two. I don't know their names, but I'll put them in the description box. And I'm just going to use my fingers to apply them first. So I'm dipping into the lighter gray and loading up my finger and looking here into the mirror. I'm going to just place that on the lid. Now, by using my finger, I can really work that pigment into the eye so that I don't have any fallout. And I'll also get that nice wet look to it because of the way the product's formulated. If I start blending that out with a brush, it might dull the finish and not look as wet or as reflective. I mean, it looks wet, like sweaty. So I'm just reapplying with my finger. If there's something that I need to fix, like this shape is coming a little bit further down than I wanted to, I can just fix that easily with a concealer brush. I'm just trying to work up the opacity of the shadow so that I can blend out the edges with a brush and not have to touch the center of the lid where that pigment's really packed on. Okay, now I'm taking a clean Smith 230 brush, which is basically a natural hair, small, round blending brush, and I'm just going to buff out the edges of that shadow. I don't have any other base on my eye other than the foundation that I kind of gently glided over the lid. And I don't have a transition shade or anything like that. I'm just applying the shadow straight to the eye because I feel like it's enough. You know, it's pretty enough that I don't need to add more to it. I mean, look how beautiful that is. That looks sexy. Now I'm going to take with a Luxie brush. This is the 213 eye shading brush. I'm going to take that deeper charcoal, load up the brush, and I'm going to press that into the bottom lash line. So the bottom lash line is going to be the same type of shade, but just a little bit darker. Applying from that outer corner where I want it darkest, bringing it in and kind of winging it out in that same angle and connecting it with that top lid. This is usually how I do makeup on myself. I just do one eye, see where it takes me, and that's pretty much it. I like the depth of this. I think I might want to apply something on that inner corner, but I'm going to finish blending this out first. I look at it from different angles too, because if you just stick to one angle, whether you're looking in a mirror or wherever, the shape can change. So you want to kind of see what it looks like. And with shadows being reflective, if the light's hitting it, you might think that it looks really opaque and solid. But as soon as you turn, you might see that you need a little bit more pigment somewhere. So as I turn, I can see there's like a patch, a missing spot there that I can just layer color over and blend. Alright, so I decided after looking at these beautiful shadows that I'm going to be applying this red on the inner corner, tear duct area right there. So I'm taking an Anastasia Beverly Hills A14 brush, which is a pencil brush in a natural hair, really loading up that brush and applying it there and blending it out. Reds on the eyes can tend to look sickly or little zombie-ish, but I don't mind them at all. I think they look interesting on the eye, and I especially like them when they're not paired with something that's very makeup-y, like a wing liner. Wing liners are beautiful, and it's an art I have not mastered yet, but I think that they definitely tone down any look. But I like an editorial, unclean, not perfect, lived in, authentic, genuine look. Something that hasn't been practiced, you know, that often, because I feel like that's what makeup is, right? Makeup makes us. We make ourselves with makeup. You know, we become who we want to be seen as with makeup. So I like the uniqueness and the genuine twists that makeup can take. Staying away from what they call the sea of sameness. So I'm just going to blend that up a little bit, kind of like a flick or a flare going up and blending that out. I'm just swapping in between these two brushes. So this 230 brush from Smith started off clean, and now it's got some product on there, but I haven't added. I'm just using it to blend and to soften. And I think I like where that is. Going into mascara now, I'm using the Smashbox SUPERFAN Fanned Out Mascara, taking off excess, working that into the lash line. I didn't line my eye, I did not wing, I didn't do anything like that. I kind of want a really clumpy mascara look, I think, for this. Because it looks wet, you know, it looks kind of grungy. And even though I'm getting some mascara on my lid, I can feel it smearing everywhere, I am not minding it. I don't know if I want to put anything in the waterline just yet. I might not, simply because I feel like it looks more fresh without anything in the waterline. But, oh gosh, this mascara is getting out of control. I'm just going to layer this up, clean up the mascara clumps that I'm not too happy with. I mean, mascara clumps can be interesting, just not right now, and not on that inner corner over the red. And I'm going to finish that other eye. Okay, eyes are pretty much done. I'm just going to run this Q-tip on my waterline so that I pick up any product, mascara or whatnot that might be on there, and I just leave it bloodshot and ready. I'm going to take my foundation brush and just pat in anything I could have touched with my fingers while I was working on my eyes. And moving on to brows. For this look, I don't think I'm going to do much to the brows because I like the eyes being the grungy focus. I feel like if I want to go with something that looks like this, having a perfect brow sometimes doesn't always work. So I want to run the tiniest bit of product through the brows just to fill in patches, but not enough to make them look super done. So what I'm going to do is, instead of applying a powder, which I usually do to my brows, I'm going to take this new MAC pencil called STYLIZED. And it has your pencil that's screw up on one side so you don't have to sharpen it, and a spoolie on the other. So if I just brush through my brow, flip it, fill in a little bit of that gap, brush it back in, and keep doing that, I'll be able to fill in my brows ever so slightly so that they don't look patchy as far as shape or potholey. But they won't look overdone because I'm not filling in the entire brow. So that's pretty much where I want that brow. This is the struggle side. I've got to fill it in, give this a little bit more work so that it looks symmetrical on this side. So keep brushing it into place. And I'm going to set the brows once I'm done with a little bit of a gel. But for now, I want the brow to look as natural as it can be without leaving it 100% natural so that the unevenness of the brow comes through. Alright, I'm happy with them now. So now I'm going to take the Benefit 3D Brow Tone in number 2, and I'm going to brush that into my brow. First brush it back, then brush it up, and kind of set and place the brow. And you can see it's a very subtle difference between this and the other brow, but it gives it dimension. It gives it more of that natural luster that you would have in a brow. A little bit more of a shine, but it still looks natural, but combed in place where it needs to be. All right, so now that the eyes are done, the brows are done, face is done, I might do a little bit of powder, guys, but I'm gonna move on to the lips. And in sticking with that same Patrickstarrr from MAC theme, I'm going to take this lip gloss in the shade, lip glass, I'm sorry, in the shade Fashion Punch. A little bit on the back of my hand. Back of my hand gets a lot of use when I'm doing makeup on other people especially. And I'm just going to pat that on the center of the lip. And I'm just working with the same tones that I applied all over my face. So it's more of a bronzy nude. It works with the tones that I place on my cheek. Alright guys, well that is it. That's the look for today. I will list the products down below so that you can check them out if you want to. I really like all the products that I used today. I'm happy with them. I like the concealer, worked really well. That foundation looks really nice. I like the way it looks on the skin. Maybe on a model skin that has no pores and no fine lines and wrinkles, it might look a lot better, but I like it on my skin. I'm happy with it. I'm pleased with it. I like it. Those creams from Danessa and Myricks look good. I like that highlight on the skin. It's not overpowering. It's good. I like it. Let me know what you guys think. I want to hear. I want to hear from you. What do you want to see? I know what I want to talk about. Do you like it when videos are more talky like this? Where I kind of don't pause as much and don't edit it all out as much? I feel more comfortable. I feel like I'm talking with you guys. Like I'm being me and not trying to be somebody else. I talk a lot. I know you probably can't tell from my Instagram because I just take very serious pictures, but I'm always talking and laughing and trying to make other people laugh at least. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'll link the products down below, or at least put them in the description. You can Google them. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming here. I appreciate you watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, all that jazz. I appreciate it. I do, truly. Thank you guys. Now I'm gonna film the intro.